Hello everyone. In this, we will understand about different fallacies of reasoning. What is fallacy? Basically, error. Means in our conclusions based on logical reasoning, if we make errors, we call that as a fallacies of reasoning. So it can occur in research when the researcher's logic is flawed or when their argument is based on some inaccurate assumptions or evidence. We consider that as a fallacy of reasoning has occurred. Some of the fallacies of reasoning that can occur during research are as follows. We'll see different fallacies. First one is hasty generalization. Means here there is a picture. You may notice that blind men, there are about 6 blind men, on touching each part of an elephant, they imagine whatever they feel like it should be. For example, on holding this, what do you call, the body of the elephant, this particular blind man is thinking that it is like a bricks. On holding the leg of the elephant, this man is thinking that it is like pillar. So like that, everybody has got his own imagination. They try to generalize based on some small representative or unrepresentative sample. So this fallacy occurs when the researcher draws a conclusion based on a small or unrepresentative sample. For example, a researcher might conclude that all customers are satisfied with the product based on a few positive reviews. Just by considering only few positive reviews, he concludes that all the customers are satisfied with the product. The next one, fallacy of false cause. Here you may notice in this particular picture, my child was diagnosed with autism after being vaccinated. Therefore, vaccines cause autism. So the cause may be something else, but since that is being done, vaccination is being done while the child was diagnosed with autism. After being vaccinated, it is concluded that vaccines caused autism, but there may be many other reasons or any other reason which may be possible. This fallacy occurs when the researcher assumes that one event caused another without sufficient evidence. For example, a researcher might conclude that a market campaign caused an increase in sales without considering other factors that might have influenced sales. Possibly, quality might have improved, or the competitors' products might not have come in the market, or the service level might have improved, or the competitor service level would have gone down. There may be many number of reasons, but here the researcher is concluding based on only this marketing campaign, the sales had gone up. Let us move on to the next fallacy, which is fallacy of ad hominem. Let us see this picture. This person presents a particular argument. Immediately on listening to the argument, this person starts attacking him as a person. That means indirectly he is rejecting the argument, straight away attacking him as a person. This fallacy occurs when the researcher attacks the character or motives of an opponent rather than addressing the merits of their argument. For example, a researcher might dismiss the findings of a study because he disagree with the author's political views. Means whatever his personal opinions that dominated, to not to completely dismiss the findings of the study without going into that deep depth of the particular study. Fallacy of slippery slope. So here you may notice this picture. This person is saying that if you don't do as I want, the company will be bankrupt. Then the sector and finally the whole economy. Means small thing. He says, if you don't listen to me, first he went into a big thing like company will become bankrupt. Then he said, even the sector will become, and then finally the whole economy also will go down. So this fallacy occurs when the researcher argues that a small action will inevitably lead to a much larger and undesirable outcome. For example, a researcher might argue that a small change in the company's pricing strategy will lead to bankruptcy. So that is basically fallacy of slippery slope. Then fallacy of false dichotomy. So here the person will be given only two options, either accept it or reject it like that. There is nothing called as neutral. Neutral is not considered to be an option only. This fallacy occurs when the researcher presents only two options as if they are the only possibilities, when Whereas there may be a fact that there may be other options also. For example, a researcher might argue that a company must either increase sales or cut costs without considering other ways to improve profitability. So even there may be many other ways which can improve the profitability. So that is not here, only two choices are given. So here there is a picture here. You are either with us or against us. Means he is not allowed to be neutral. So that is called as a false dichotomy. Then fallacy of confirmation bias. We may notice this Venn diagram. This circle denotes facts and evidence. This circles denote our beliefs. Confirmation bias arise when belief is given importance along with the facts and means. Whatever a person believed, that he strongly believes in such a way that he doesn't he doesn't look into other facts and evidence. Already he made up his mind, this is what it is. Such thing you call it as a confirmation bias. This is the tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms one's pre-existing beliefs or hypothesis. Researchers may ignore or downplay information that contradicts their beliefs, leading to the bias. Means here, if you look into the intersection part is confirmation bias, because that is tallying with the researcher's beliefs. He is completely ignoring these facts and evidence, but partial facts and evidence which is suiting his beliefs, he is considering it. That is confirmation bias. Selection bias. This occurs when the sample or population being studied is not representative of the target population, leading to biased results. For example, a researcher studying the impact of a new drug may only interview or talk to people who have a positive response to the drug. So what will happen is when he approaches only those people, so it becomes a biased result. He doesn't get any negative feedback from anybody whom it has got a negative response. That is not at all being considered. That is selection bias. Fallacy of appeal to authority. So here you may see this picture, but why should we switch to this buffer solution? Because I am the lab head and I said so. Means he is showing, this person is showing his authority and he expects this person to just to simply accept that based on the authority. So this occurs when an argument is accepted based solely on the authority or reputation of the person making the argument without considering the evidence or logic behind the argument. That is basically appeal to authority. Fallacy of composition. See here, one is standing. If I stand, I can see better. That means if all stands, all can see better. It is definitely impossible, but it is going based on composition. In the sense, this occurs when a claim asserts that what is true of a part. Here it is partly true, but others also think that wholly also it is true. Then it becomes a problem. Example, if a runner runs faster, she can win the race. If we conclude based on this, if all the runners run faster, they all can win the race. That is impossible. But if we conclude, that becomes a fallacy of composition. Fallacy of division. See here the example given. English people are good at football. John is English. So therefore, John is a good at football. So it is an error from arguing that what is true of the whole will be true of the parts. So this is one example what we saw. Another example is A is a part of B and B has property X. Hence, A has property X. So then again, water is liquid. Hence, H2O molecules means hydrogen and oxygen are also liquid. If you argue like that, because water is liquid is true, that is the whole is true, parts cannot be liquid. So the parts cannot be true. But if we consider that, then it becomes a fallacy of division. Fallacy of refutation. The fallacy of refutation occurs when someone misrepresents their opponent's argument to make it easier to refute. This fallacy is a type of straw man argument and involves attacking a position that your opponent does not actually hold. See here, the example will make you clearly understand. A person A says sunny days are good. The person B says, if all days were sunny, then we would never have rain. Without rain, we would have famine and death. See, this person, first person only uttered saying that sunny days are good. That's all. He never said he doesn't want rain. He never said he won't expect a famine or death and all those things. All these things are added here just to attack this person's argument. If all days were sunny, we would never have rain. This person never spoke that he doesn't want rain. So that is basically fallacy of refutation. Fallacy of irrelevant arguments is also called as red herring. This occurs when someone introduces an argument or topic that is not directly related to the issue being discussed, just to divert the attention from the real issue or to confuse the audience. For example, suppose someone is arguing that the minimum wage should be increased to help low-income workers. That's all. That is the argument. The opponent immediately starts responding. If the minimum wage is increased, then small businesses will have to pay their workers more and may go out of business. Means here, in what way it can be increased, how it can be increased, that is not being considered. Simply an attacking argument again. See, if we start doing that, it will affect small businesses and they may even go to the extent of going out of the business. Completely irrelevant argument is being specified here. Fallacy of circular reasoning, also known as begging the question, is a fallacy in which the conclusion of argument is already assumed in the premises. For example, this example, using logic is important. Why? Because it is important to use logic. So again, we came back to square one actually. That is why it is called circular reasoning. So next example, these facts are true because they are in his diary. Why should I accept his diary? Because his diary is true because it contains these facts. Again, coming back to square one. So such type of reasoning, we call it as fallacy of circular reasoning. Next, fallacy of seizing on a trivial point. This arises when you locate another's weak argument and magnify it out of all proportion to discredit the entire position on the proposition. For example, seizing on a trivial point like grammar or spelling or even a fact like in, see, let us consider this example. Person A says that human rights situation in city A is serious. Paramilitaries killed 43 people. The person B further replied, no, they did not. Then you ask him why you say it did not. He says they killed 45, not 43. Means here the number, whatever is specified, that is not a main thing. The main thing is the human rights situation. That is not being discussed. Just to find a fault in the numbers, he points out that it is not 43 and 45. That is basically seizing on a trivial point. It is one of the fallacy.